Welcome back. In this episode, we're going to talk about how to take negative energy and turn it into positive energy. There's a lot of components to this, and so my vision for you in this episode is to help you see that you can take the negative energy that comes when we focus on what's going wrong or the negative experiences in life and how you can flip that and turn it into positive energy. Because when you have clarity, that gives you energy, and then you no longer feel like, oh, life just sucks, it's so bad. Because I mentor a lot of troubled youth, and when they understand what I'm going to show you here, their whole life changes, and they seem to focus on brightening the world, brightening the room when they enter it, instead of brightening the room when they leave it, because they don't think life is going well for anybody. And so in a group of people, they are a drain instead of a fountain. They're always scarcity minded instead of abundant minded. So I'm going to give you probably my favorite formula in order to do this. So stay with me. At the end, you're going to be blown away with a little exercise that I've done with my grandkids to help them understand how to be a possibility thinker. The important concept here is how to convert the negative energy, if we want to call it energy. It actually sucks energy out of the room, into positive energy, which will give people greater clarity. So let me just make sure you understand the power behind positive energy. It comes from giving people clarity and confidence and capability. When you take anything that seems overwhelming and you give people clarity on how their future can be better, that energizes them. Anytime I've taken an audience and they start writing down their goals, if we were sitting here 3 years from today, looking back over that 3-year period to today, what has to have happened in your life for you to feel happy with the progress you made? And so I have them write down what has to have happened in their life financially, spiritually, emotionally, intellectually, with all the relationships in their life. And when they do that, at first they hesitate, but the more they write down, they get clearer and clearer. I watch the energy just turn positive. So when you have clarity, that gives you energy. Once you have that, you also want to provide balance, because balance takes sort of the wobble out of your life. That increases the velocity in which you achieve your goals or your destination. When you learn how to focus on what really matters most in life, then that increases the accuracy in which you achieve your goals or your destination, and you will see positive energy. So when you have clarity, confidence, and capability, when all of a sudden you have balance in your life, you take the wobble out and you have that balance between all areas of your life, then you'll have focus on what matters most, and that increases that velocity. When you have those three, clarity, balance, and focus, then you will attract opportunities because you will have confidence. Confidence is the greatest gift I can give anyone. I want to give it to you. When you have confidence in a brighter future, that no matter what you've done, your future is spotless, that you can have that confidence, all of a sudden the energy just emanates from everybody that I give clarity, balance, focus, and confidence to. So how do you do that? When you attain the best possible, you do that when you seek the impossible. Sometimes when people get caught up in negative energy, they do not see the possibilities out there. There are opportunities right in front of them, and they don't even recognize that it's an opportunity. They see it as a challenge instead of an opportunity. This is why in another episode I want you to watch, you can see how Brett Livingston Strong took a threat and turned it into an opportunity. Instead of some challenge, he said, oh, that's an opportunity. And he became a multi-millionaire by taking $1 and turning it into $1.1 million. Make sure you watch that episode. But I'm going to go through and show you a simple example that my wife and I did with our grandchildren this year at Grandpa's Camp. Grandpa's Camp is something that we look forward to every single summer, and I'm going to share why and what we did. So Grandpa's Camp is where we have our grandchildren, 4 years old and older, come every summer. It's the highlight of our summer, and many of them say it's the highlight of their summer, where they get away from their parents. And what we have done now that we've done it every year for 7 years, we have the teenagers come for the first 3 days, and we do high adventure. Maybe we do rappelling or backpacking or hot air ballooning, and we have high adventure, but we also talk teenage talk. And we help them understand many critical things with some of the tools that I share in other episodes to help them see a brighter future and to take negative experiences and turn them into positive outcomes and not take the victim role, sitting on the bottom of the ocean like a clam waiting for plankton to float to them. But this country was built with an eagle on top of the flagpole, going out and being in motion, adding value in the world. After the first 3 days, then the teenagers help Grandma and Grandpa facilitate the 4-year-olds and older. The 8, 9, 10, and 11-year-olds join me up at 10,500 feet, and we camp out and do a lot of other high adventure things. And Grandma takes the 4, 5, 6, and 7-year-olds in the cabin, and she does activities and lessons, but we bring them all together and they share and teach one another. Now, this last year, our theme, we always have a theme, was be a possibility thinker. So they get a t-shirt that says, I'm a possibility thinker. And as I taught them, you attain the best possible when you seek the impossible. So each one of them chose some hero in history or even in scripture in the Bible. We're Christian, and so many of them will choose stories from there about people who attained almost what everybody else thought was impossible, and they attained the best possible outcome. And some of them chose people like Thomas Edison that attempted to invent the electric light over 10,000 times with his team before a young reporter came up and said, "How does that feel, Mr. Edison, having failed 10,000 times?" Do you know what he said? He said, "I haven't failed 10,000 times. I've successfully found 10,000 ways that don't work." And he went on with 6,000 more attempts before he finally invented the electric light. But see, like Zig Ziglar, one of my favorite motivational speakers, would say, the only difference between a big shot and a little shot is a big shot is a little shot that kept shooting. And so what I did with my grandkids in preparation to have them all tell their stories of possibility thinkers is I all handed them a block of wood, and there was 12 at the time that were on the picnic table out in front of our cabin. So we had 3 groups, and they had a block of wood, and there were 15 nails. And I stuck one of the nails upright in the block of wood. And I said, now, I want you to take all these other 14 nails, and I want you to arrange them and balance all of them on top of that one nail. It is very possible. Oh, no, Grandpa, that's impossible. No, you cannot use rubber bands. You can't tip it over. They must all reside on top of that one nail. And I have them try to figure it out. They take a nail and they start doing it. And they go, "Grandpa, that's impossible." I said, "No, it isn't. It's very possible. In fact, I can do it in 30 seconds. Well, they know Grandpa tells the truth. And so then they begin to think. Instead of saying, "It can't be done," they start to collaborate. And then I give them little hints like this. Hey, as a family, together, we are better. And all of a sudden they go, "Do that again, Grandpa." But pretty soon they start to arrange it. It may take them 10, 12, 15 minutes. And then pretty soon they figure out, if you lay one nail down and you take the other nails and you arrange them opposite with the heads overlapping, they get that. But then to put the final nail on top the opposite direction that holds all those nails in place. Now, that could be, these 2 nails could be Grandma and Grandpa or Mom and Dad or their leaders, but these are all the grandchildren in our family. So I'm teaching a lesson about together we're better. And guess what? Once you do that, and you can do that in about 20, 25 seconds, you take your fingers and you slide it off the edge of the table, and you place it on top of that one nail right in the center. And guess what happens? you just attained the best possible by seeking the impossible. They are blown away and they are balancing 14 nails on top of one single nail by doing this. And they all do it in less than 30 seconds. And they're like, I did it, Grandpa, I did it. Because they achieved something they thought was impossible, and they will never forget that lesson. So the key takeaways are to help those you care about to become possibility thinkers, to be able to get them out of the zone of thinking, I can't, I'm not smart enough. Take away all those excuses. And when you empower them to think about the possibilities and they achieve, then they take those negative thoughts and they turn them into positive outcomes. You create positive energy by achieving the best things possible when you seek the impossible. It is a lesson that when you teach them, they will be grateful to you the rest of their lives, and it will pass on to future generations. If this is resonating with you, I would encourage you to view this episode here for the 7-step process on how to take any negative experience and turn it into a positive outcome. And then you can actually write a book about it, because the world loves usefulness and they will pay you for your wisdom. I'm convinced that everybody probably has an experience in their life that they overcame, and there are probably 999 other people on this planet that would like to know how you dealt with that problem or that issue and how you overcame it because you looked at the possibilities. And when you do that, I've helped many people become best-selling authors using formulas on how to take the negative experiences and turn them into positive outcomes, and people would like to know how you did that.